يسخن. This is a main sheet. Go to a shirt. Roman days
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا تخزنا. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, today I'm going to share with you the meanings, inshallah, some of the meanings, as much as time permits, of one page and one ayah in Surah Al-An'am. Surah Al-An'am is a Makki surah, was revealed in Mecca and came down as one block. The entire surah came as one surah, the entire surah together. And it's narrated that when it came down, beside Jibreel, who is the messenger, there was 70,000 angels that came down with it. And even almost the earth shook when the Surah Al-An'am was revealed. Just like the rest of the Quran, it's a great surah. And although the name might not indicate, like An'am is talking about the cattle and what's halal, what's haram, but actually the entire surah is a course in aqidah, in faith. And some scholars recommend that you read it in one sitting and try to contemplate it. The entire surah is connected. And again, it's a course in faith. If you want to increase your iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you try to study this surah and really go over the meanings. So, and I was recently listening to a podcast for like a abbreviation of a book of Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah, talking about tafakkur fil Quran, contemplating in Quran. And one of the advice that he gave is, when you are reading Quran, there's ayat al-wa'ad, al-wa'id, when talking about punishing other group of people who did not believe, talking about anything in the Quran, imagine yourself, actually it is, you are being talked to. So see, even if this ayah is talking about like a different past generation, try to see how this ayah is talking to you, because the Quran is talking to all of us, and especially to each individual. So in each verse, there's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to you about. So keep this in mind when we are reviewing those ayat today, inshallah. So it's going to be one page, if we have time, and one ayah in the next page. And I'm going to start with the end, actually, with the ayah that made me give this khutbah today to you, that attracted especially my attention. So inshallah, because every time I leave something to the end, I don't get time to get to it. So I'm going to start with it, and then go back to the previous page that kind of explains why this ayah probably was revealed. And the ayah is, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون. It's a very heavy ayah, actually, if you look at the meaning. الذين آمنوا, those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who believe, وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ, and they do not taint their iman with zulm, transgression. أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ, those are the true people who have actually aman, safety, tranquility. وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ, and those are the people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide. Peace and guidance is connected to iman and not to have zulm. So actually, many of the companions were very, they felt this ayah to be very heavy. Because inshallah, we are all believers. But the companions, and that's what attracted my attention to this ayah to begin with. The companions went to the Prophet and they said, who from us is not zalimun li nafsih, who does not do transgression against his own self before transgressing against other people? We all sin, and we know that sins are zulm. So it was a very heavy ayah, but the Prophet explained it to them that, look at what Luqman said, يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. Don't associate anybody with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because associating anybody with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest zulm that you can do. So the Prophet meant that this ayah here, zulm, means shirk, to associate somebody with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you are a believer, and just like the Arabs actually, before Islam, they used to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they associated somebody with him. So they tainted their belief with the shirk, and that's why it wasn't accepted from them. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those who believe and do not taint their iman with any zulm. أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. So although this is what the Prophet explained, but we know that associating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has different levels. And Ibn Taymiyyah also said that الكفاية على قدر الإعانة أو الكفاية على قدر الاتباع والناقصة بالناقصة. الكفاية على قدر الاتباع والناقصة بالناقصة. That the more you have belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you have a perfect belief, just like what we're going to see in the previous page, this ayah came after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking about part of the story of Prophet Ibrahim, the father of the prophets. If you have the belief, the strong iman of Prophet Ibrahim and the companions and people like him, like them, then you have complete safety. وَالنَّاقِصَةُ بِالنَّاقِصَةِ. And if you decrease your iman, if your iman goes down, the safety and guidance we'll go down to وَالنَّاقِصَةُ بِالنَّاقِصَةِ. So let me go back now to the previous page. And again, the previous page talk about part of the story that led to this ayah about Sayyidina Ibrahim. And especially this ayah that confuses certain people sometimes when Prophet Ibrahim was talking about the moon and the star and the sun. It's like, what's the meaning of all this example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave in this surah? And to understand this part of the surah, actually, we have to understand the seerah of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. And Prophet Ibrahim is mentioned frequently in the Quran. His story is mentioned often in the Quran. He's the father of the prophets. But even with all of this, I listened to so many scholars about Sayyidina Ibrahim to try to understand the details about how old was he when he received the message, when, during his history of talking to his people, destroying the idols. When did he receive the message actually? How old he was? It's not clear actually. I couldn't really tell when the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam really received the message. And we know that he lived in Iraq and then he moved to Palestine, Bilad Sham, and at one part even to Egypt before he came back to Palestine. But again, it's not really known when he received the message. So keeping this in mind, and his people, the people of Prophet Ibrahim, some of them worshiped idols, some of them worshiped the stars, and some of them worshiped both of them at the same time. So the idols will serve as, just like the Arabs, they used to worship idols to get them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they worship different stars, thinking that each star has a purpose. Like one is for provision, one for to have kids, one to have rain. So they have so much shirk, so much association, more than we can expect. So keeping all of this in mind, and Ibrahim was the only believer. So the page starts by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ آزَرَ أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا آلِهَةً إِنِّي أَرَاكَ وَقَوْمَكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. So again, probably here, Prophet Ibrahim wasn't a prophet yet. He's just a smart young man. And we know this one age that mentioned in the Quran for Prophet Ibrahim, إِنَّ سَمِعْنَا فَتًى يَذْكُرُهُمْ يُقَالُ لَهُ إِبْرَاهِيم. So when Ibrahim destroyed the idols, he was a fata. Fata is the age between 13 and 19. So he was kind of a teenager when he went and destroyed the idols. And we are not sure at that time if he was a prophet or not. Probably he wasn't even a prophet then. So here Ibrahim alayhi salam is talking to his father very politely. And we know the father of Ibrahim was the one who used to make the idols. He used to profit from it and he believed in it, and he used to make the idols and sell it to people. And even he used to make Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, because his son, his teenager, he will make him go to the market and try to sell the idols too. And what Ibrahim alayhi salam used to do, he will go to the market, take the idols with him and tell people, come buy it. It doesn't help you in any way. And nobody will buy from him when he say that. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ آزَرَ أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا. Do you worship idols instead of worshiping Allah? إِنِّي أَرَاكَ وَقَوْمَكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. I see, it's like it doesn't make sense. فِي ضَلَالٍ, like extreme misguidance. So إِنِّي أَرَاكَ, I see it, it's very clear. You don't need any evidence to say that worshiping idols beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not make any sense. I don't really need a proof. I don't need to be a prophet. Doesn't really make sense to make an idol and then worship it. And if you notice, every time Ibrahim alayhi salam makes a statement, he does not make it in a confirmatory way. He always asks questions. أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا. Do you take idols as ilah to worship? So it's always in his language, he asks questions instead of giving you the message, the idea he want to say, he asks a question. So that's his way to make people think. In a status quo, he wants people to think that probably you are worshiping idols, your parents, your grandparents, but you have to always challenge the belief that's around you, the status quo. And probably also the other reason why he always asks questions depends on the language that Prophet Ibrahim used to speak. It's well known that in the Quran, each surah actually has a different rhythm. And sometimes that rhythm to reflect the language that the people spoke during like time of Sayyidina Ibrahim, time of Sayyidina Musa, is different language, it wasn't Arabic, and the way they spoke too. Inni araka wa qawmaka fi dalalin mubin. I see you. So the first step, actually, it was from Sayyidina Ibrahim. He thought that those idols doesn't make any sense. He took the first step. He contemplated, and then he went and he spoke with his father. So always the first step should be on us. We shouldn't wait first to get any help from anybody, or to wait for Allah to give us like although it's always from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we have to take the first step. Like in Surah Al-Kahf, وَإِذْ رَبَطْنَا عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ إِذْ قَامُوا فَقَالُوا. When those kids went to the cave, before they went to the cave, they were brave and they spoke out, but Allah after that, وَرَبَطْنَا عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ. So you have to take the first step, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the guidance. But the first steps should be always on you. Don't depend and postpone until you get some kind of revelation and then you wake up. You always have to take the first step. And many people refuse to take this first step. They know what they are doing is probably is not good or haram or illegal or whatever, but they don't even want to like be with themselves and just think about it, because they know if they thought about it, they know it's wrong and they have to stop. So they keep doing things without even asking questions or taking the first step. وَكَذَلِكَ نُرِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ مَلَكُوتَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلِيَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُوقِنِينَ. So Ibrahim took the first step. He was contemplating about what's happening around him, and then Allah gave him the guidance now, the help. وَكَذَلِكَ نُرِي. And then we showed Ibrahim. So first, إِنِّي أَرَاكَ, I see you, O my father. The next ayah, وَكَذَلِكَ نُرِي Ibrahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him. He started thinking, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the power to see what's beyond what we see. So some mufassirin, they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually, when he was contemplating in the stars and stuff, he showed him like almost the galaxies and things that we can see now with the telescope. That's what some of the mufassirin, but most probably just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the power in his vision, the barakah. Just like the hadith that ولا يزال عبدي يتقرب إلي بالنوافل حتى أحبه فإذا أحببته كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده التي يبطش بها ورجله التي يمشي بها. So once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, after you do all the ibadat and you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of all of your things, business, and also put barakah. So when you hear, you really understand and give you Allah will give you deep meaning. When you read the Quran, if you keep contemplating and Allah be help you out, you can see deeper meaning that you did not really understood from before, or nobody taught you from before. وَكَذَلِكَ نُرِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ. So Ibrahim took the first step, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the guidance. مَلَكُوتَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. We showed him the heaven and the earth. And وَلِيَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُوقِنِينَ. So he will be from al-muqinin. So in Surah Al-An'am, actually frequently people, the non-believer, ask for an ayah, a revelation. Give us a sign, give us a sign. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always tells them that look around you, look at the animals, are different nations just like you, look at the stars. So here, contemplation is very important when we think about ourselves, especially about the very minute things and very big things like the skies and the heavens. Those lead us to understand the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and lead us to be from al-muqinin, to have deep conviction and belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فلما جن عليه الليل رأى كوكبا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لا أحب الآفلين. So it was at night, and because his people used to worship the stars and the moon at night. So it was at night, فَلَمَّا جَنَّ عَلَيْهِ اللَّيْلُ. When it was very dark outside, he went outside and he saw a star, which was a planet actually, but it looked like a star. قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. He said, this is, I'm going to give you just the translation before we go over the meaning. قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. He said, this is my Lord. فَلَمَّا أَفَلَ. When the star went away, so أَفَلَ actually went away, but it has very deep meaning. When the camel gives birth to her newborn, and then this newborn leaves her, that means afala. So there was connection between the mother and the child. So when he leaves her slowly, she starts to make noises, and he makes noises when he's away from his mom until he's ready to be kind of not nursed anymore. So this afala is like something that you like, you depend on, you are very close to, and then leaves you. So in the case of this star, if it's like a Lord, when it left afala, because you don't need an ilah to leave you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he doesn't go to sleep. Imagine a God, an ilah that is supposed to protect us and hold all the heavens in place, that he goes to sleep for 1 second. This cannot be an ilah. An ilah is somebody that is always watching over you. And that's why we feel safe always. We always feel like doesn't matter what happens, we have Allah with us. So when this star went away, قال لا أحب الآفلين. Ibrahim said, I don't like those that leave us, the ilah that will leave us. So here is the question, and the next ayah talks about the moon, the next ayah talks about the sun. So here many people get confused. Like Ibrahim said, فَلَمَّا رَأَى كَوْكَبًا. When he saw this star, he said, this is my Lord. So most Mufassirin say that actually he was talking to the people around him, trying to convince them that you cannot really worship something that will leave you. Like people, because his people used to worship the moon and the sun and the stars. So he was trying to teach them that wait until the end, when the star went away, your Lord cannot really leave you and just abandon you. This cannot be a Lord. So most Mufassirin said that's what Ibrahim was trying to say, and he never believed in anybody beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is true. So that the debate between the Mufassirin is between Nadir and Munadir. That Ibrahim, was he just looking and contemplating for himself? He was a Nadir. Or Abu Nadir, he was debating with his people around him. And I think regardless of what we think about this, most Mufassirin said that his Munadir, he was debating with his people, trying to teach them. But even if he was contemplating by himself, that doesn't mean he really believed in the star or the moon or anything. He's just contemplating. And that's the whole idea of contemplation, is to think that what my people around me are believing, let me assume that I'm going to do this. And the end result wasn't good. لا أحب الآفلين. I think the way to understand this is most probably during this time, Ibrahim was not a prophet yet. He believed that there's a creator, he believed in Allah, but he did not know the details. The details will come with a message, and he did not receive the message yet. So some Mufassirin compare this stage of Sayyidina Ibrahim with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Ghar Hira, when he used to go there and spend long days and nights worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, contemplating about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't know the details. Prophet Muhammad never worshipped idols. Even Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, never worshipped idols. So leave alone Prophet Ibrahim, the father of the prophets. So it was during this stage that Ibrahim was contemplating, either by himself or with the people around him. So the first step, he said, فَلَمَّا أَفَلَ قَالَ لَا أُحِبُّ الْآفِلِينَ. So the first step, he said, and the Mufassirin focus on this, لَا أُحِبُّ الْآفِلِينَ, as التخلية. Like you have to empty your heart from anything that might leave you. So you don't depend on anything beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not your money, even if you are wealthy, not your parents, not your children, because everybody is going to leave you. Nobody can be with you all the time. At least when you die, everything is going to stay behind. Even in this life, sometimes you feel stranded in the middle of nowhere. Nobody can help you. So first you have لا أحب الآفلين. You have to remove everything from your heart before you can receive the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَمَّا رَأَى الْقَمَرَ بَازِغًا قَالَ هَذَا رَبِّي. Then he saw the moon. He said, this is my Lord. Can this be my Lord? فَلَمَّا أَفَلَ. And when the moon left, قال لئن لم يهدني ربي لأكونن من القوم الضالين. So this statement he said, Ibrahim alayhi salam, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not guide me, I will be from those that are misguided. So the first step, he removed everything from his heart. He has no dependence on anybody except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second stage, كامل الافتقار إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى. To know that nobody can help you except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you seek help from him. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guide me. If we feel like in a burden with our iman, with anything, we go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for guidance. He's the only one who can really guide us. And then فَلَمَّا رَأَى الشَّمْسَ بَازِغَةً, and then he saw the sun shiny. قال هذا ربي, this my Lord. هذا أكبر, this is even bigger than the sun, bigger than the moon and more brighter. فلما أفلت قال يا قوم إني بريء مما تشركون. Then he said no, none of these stars, moons can be nonsense, can be my Lord. إني بريء مما تشركون. I associate nobody with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now he started talking to his people. So during this stage, I don't know if the revelation came to him or he was just talking to his people out of his own knowledge and conclusion that he received after contemplating in the moon and the sun, everything. إني وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا وما أنا من المشركين. I totally give my face, my energy, وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات, to the one that created the heaven and the earth. وما أنا من المشركين, and I will never associate anybody with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the first stage, is to be now active. You believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you, then now you don't look back, you stay focused and do da'wah, practice what you know. So those are the three stages mentioned here before I finish the first khutbah. لا أحب الآفلين, remove anything from your heart, don't depend on anybody. I don't like anybody that's going to leave me, and everything will leave you. Look at anything in life. Like one time I saw this boxer on YouTube, and I saw his story. He was like he will knock out anybody, that any competitor in front of him. Like after a few rounds, the guy is gone, and all of a sudden he became very arrogant. He started womanizing, using drugs. He got AIDS, and then we see him in the hospital after so many years. He's wasted. He has no muscles. So anything could leave you. Look at any pretty model. Eventually you see their pictures when they are old or when they're dead. Nothing stays the same. إني لا أحب الآفلين. First step is to remove anything from your heart. Second step is to totally depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and feel how poor you are compared to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how much you need Him. And the third stage is when you are ready now, you just keep going non-stop, keep increasing your iman, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. I only have few more minutes. I really have to conclude with the second part. So after Ibrahim alayhi salam he came to his people, came out that I only believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the next step is to get challenges now. وَحَاجَّهُ قَوْمُهُ, his people start to argue with him. قَالَ تُحَاجُّونِ فِي اللَّهِ وَقَدْ هَدَانِ, he's the one who guided me, there's no way I can look back and worship your idols. وَلَا أَخَافُ مَا تُشْرِكُونَ بِهِ, so they started to threaten him with their idols or with punishment. So the challenge is that once you start being on the straight path, the challenges, as we all know, will start to come to you. وَلَا أَخَافُ مَا تُشْرِكُونَ بِهِ إِلَّا أَنْ يَشَاءَ رَبِّي شَيْئًا وَسِعَ رَبِّي كُلَّ شَيْءٍ عِلْمًا أَفَلَا تَتَذَكَّرُونَ. وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ, and how do you want me to be scared? Because they scared him. If you don't follow our idols, we will do this, we will do that. Our idols will punish you. And for Ibrahim, that doesn't make وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ. So the question here, Ibrahim, he did not contemplate, he did not understand how they are threatening him with their idols or with anything. So the sheikh that I was listening to, actually his name is Ahmed Abdul Mun'im. I shared his name with other brothers, Ahmed Abdul Mun'im. He's a physician from Egypt, but also he's a sheikh. MashaAllah, try to listen to him. He has very good points about the ayat that he goes over. And he focuses on وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ. So Ibrahim, after contemplating and thinking and worship, imagine Prophet Muhammad in Ghar Hira, and then he got the message, how strong he was. So after all these stages, after all this mujahada that you do, and وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ, then you reach to this stage, وَكَيْفَ أَخَافُ. Then how do you want me to be scared from anything? If you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. When Abu Bakr and the Prophet ﷺ were in Ghar Hira, we all in Ghar Thawr, and we all know the story. And Abu Bakr told him, if they look down, they will see us. The Prophet ﷺ did not tell him, no, we can do this, they will not see us. The Prophet told him, ما بالك باثنين الله تعالى. What do you think about two, Allah with them? So, وكيف أخاف means that always feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with you. If you are on the straight path, depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remove anything from your heart beside Him, and after that there's no fear. There will have the normal fear from danger, from fire, from certain animal. That's a normal fear. But we don't fear that anybody can really influence our rizq, or influence anything that we have except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once we have that tranquility in our heart, our khushu' will increase, our peace will increase, and then I'll conclude with the ayah that I mentioned initially. الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون. Those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do not associate anything with Him, those have the complete peace and guidance. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those that don't associate anybody with Him, not even our desires. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from those that listen, understand, and obey and practice. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين وأعلي مولانا كلمة الحق والدين من أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين خيرا فوفقه إلى كل خير ومن أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين شرا فخذه أخذ عزيز مقتدر اللهم احفظ المسلمين في كل مكان يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم كن مع إخواننا في غزة وفلسطين والسودان وبلاد الشام وفي كل مكان يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وإذ قال إبراهيم لأبيه آزر أتتخذ أصناما آلهة إني أراك وقومك في ضلال مبين وكذلك نري إبراهيم ملكوت السماوات والأرض وليكون من الموقنين فلما جن عليه الليل رأى كوكبا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لا أحب الآفلين فلما رأى القمر بازغا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لئن لم يهدني ربي لأكونن من القوم الضالين فلما رأى الشمس بازغة قال هذا ربي هذا أكبر فلما أفلت قال يا قوم إني بريء مما تشركون إني وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا وما أنا من المشركين. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله 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 أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وحاجه قومه قال أتحاجوني في الله وقد هدان ولا أخاف ما تشركون به إلا أن يشاء ربي شيئا وسع ربي كل شيء علما أفلا تتذكرون وكيف أخاف ما أشركتم ولا تخافون أنكم أشركتم بالله ما لم ينزل به عليكم سلطانا فأي الفريقين أحق بالأمن إن كنتم تعلمون الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون وتلك حجتنا آتيناها إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من نشاء إن ربك حكيم عليم. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Jalal Tabbah, for the beautiful khutbah. Inshallah, not many announcements today. Salat al-Fajr tomorrow morning will be moved to 6:15 a.m. Isha also moves tomorrow down to 9:50. The days are getting very long very quickly. There will be zikr session tonight at 8:30 bi'iznillah. 8:45, I'm sorry, 8:45 zikr session tonight. I don't know if you guys are getting the emails or the WhatsApp updates. We do have a scholar visiting us. And we have on Mondays at 7:30, there's a khatira happening at Daiwood. It's also happening over Zoom. It is Arabic language, but the scholar is visiting us, Allah Yazid Khair, Sheikh Abdul Fattah. That's kind of pretty much it for this week. Also, just a reminder, make sure you're updated for your Memorial Day camp registration. Keep your brothers and sisters in your da'at locally and abroad. Assalamu alaikum. So I said 8:30, somebody changed me to 8:45. I announced both times, so they're both perfect.